Check out opinionoutpost.com and earn cash by filling out surveys. All you do is share your opinion and you'll earn money. Click the link below to sign up, guys. What are you waiting for? Just click it. It's so simple. You earn money. Just do it. Hey, what's up, guys? MGH here, and welcome to another video. Today, it's not career mode. It's not a normal video that I tend to do, but we are halfway through the Premier League season, and I really wanted to discuss my team of the season so far from the Premier League. It's been, well, I don't know how to describe this season so far. It's been a little bit of an odd season, some real surprises going on. You've got Leicester topping the table for many, many weeks. You've got Chelsea near the relegation zone. There's been so many upsets, so many surprises. And to be honest, guys, there's a lot of players that have been performing really well that maybe we didn't expect to. So I'm going to get into the reserves first. Then we'll get into the substitutions, and then we'll get into the team of the season so far. So pretty much, guys, we have a choice of 2 for each position. That means there's 4 centre-backs, there's 4 midfielders, so on, so on. The backup goalkeeper is Petr Cech. For me, Cech has been one of the best signings of the season so far. He has changed the Arsenal squad. There's just a bit of solidarity added to that defence, and that has to be Cech. He's experienced, he's won everything there is to win, except from the World Cup, I guess, and the Euro Championship. But either way, Cech had to be in the squad. But how is he not in the first team? You'll find out soon enough. Moving on now to the backup right back, and we have Klein. This was definitely the hardest position to fill. I really struggled to pick out 2 right backs in the season so far that have performed the best. So actually, this is your choice on Twitter. Klein came in second place. And I tend to agree, he's been a very good signing for Liverpool, but right-backs really haven't done anything special this season so far, whereas every other position, it was easy for me to fill it out. So Klein's in second place there. So one of the 2 backup centre-backs had to be Morgan from Leicester City, and yes, there is going to be quite a few Leicester City players in this team. Morgan has been a very solid player for them at the back. He's an absolute brute, he's really good in the air, and he has definitely contributed to Leicester's success this season. The other backup centre-back is Koscielny. He has definitely proved he's one of the best, if not the best centre-back in the Premier League this year. And for me, over the last few years, he really has improved. Every single year he gets better and better. Koscielny had to be in the list. He's not in the first team, but for me, he's definitely been the 3rd best centre-back this season so far. Now for the backup left back, and we have Fuchs, a relatively new signing. He joined in the summer for Leicester City, and to be honest, when I heard about it, I thought, okay, interesting. He's moved from Schalke to Leicester. Okay, they just about survived relegation. What is he thinking? Turns out he made a very good decision, because Leicester obviously have done very well this season. Actually, I remember against Manchester United, he was just on the right side after a corner, and he made that fantastic assist for Vardy. I won't forget that pass. It was absolutely incredible. So Fuchs, for me, has been one of the best left-backs this season so far, but not the best. So now, guys, we're moving on to midfielders, and we're going to start on the right wing. So the backup right midfielder for team of the season so far has to be Willian for me. Pretty much the only Chelsea player that's been consistent this season, if you ask me. Now, the first backup centre mid had to be Ali, a Spurs player in one of my videos. What? Now, obviously, guys, I cannot be biased. Tottenham have been a really strong team this season so far. And Ali, one of the most promising young English players playing in the Premier League right now, has been one of the best players for me. He's just been so solid. One of them, for me, had to be Barkley as another backup midfielder. He has been incredible this season. He is scoring, he's assisting, just like Ali. But Barkley, for me, needed it this season. It's been a couple of years since we really were raving about him. And now he needed to perform this season. And so far, in the first 6 months or so, he definitely has been one of the best performers. And Everton really do have a great player on their hands. They have a few great young players, like Stones, for example. But Barkley, for me, is one of their best players. Now on to the left side of midfield, the backup player will be Sanchez, another Arsenal player who couldn't make it into the first team. It doesn't help that Sanchez, took a couple of weeks to really get into the Premier League this year after quite a busy summer, you could say. And obviously, he had that slight injury recently, which has kept him out. So hasn't really been able to prove to us how good he really is this season. Obviously, last season he was pretty incredible. But anyway, he had to be in the backup, if you ask me. Whenever he has played, he's been incredible. He's been very, very strong for Arsenal once again this season. but there is one more player ahead of him if you ask me. Moving up to strikers now, and we have our first backup striker, and it's another Spurs player. It is Harry Kane. He couldn't make it into the first team simply because there are so many good strikers this season that are performing well. But Harry Kane, I think he's got 11 goals, and somehow no one's really talking about him this season. The other backup striker is Ighalo from Watford. This guy has scored something like 28 goals over the year. That's incredible. Couldn't quite make it into the first team, but definitely deserves pretty much third spot, I would say. And now, before we get into the first team, just some honourable mentions that couldn't quite make it. We've got Scott Dan from Crystal Palace, a very solid centre-back so far this season. We then have Kolarov from Man City. I know a lot of people maybe don't like him because he's not the most athletic, but that left foot is an absolute rocket, and you've got to be honest, he has been one of City's best players this season. We then have Eric Dyer, another young centre midfielder from Tottenham. English, future star possibly. He's been very good this season but couldn't quite make it into the team. Then we have another midfielder. It's Capoue from Watford. Not many people suggested this guy when I asked on Twitter, but every time I watch Watford, he is running things. He looks like a very, very good signing for Watford. Up next, we have Cabaye from Crystal Palace. What a signing he's proved to be. And we all know it, Cabaye is a very good player. He couldn't quite get into that PSG team, but at Crystal Palace, he's their star man pretty much. We then have Payet. Now, this guy would be pretty much in the first team or the subs if he didn't get injured. It's quite clear how good this guy is. He has been so good this season so far for West Ham. We then have another City player, and it's Kevin De Bruyne. For his first season back in the Premier League, he's done very well for Man City. He's been getting quite a few assists, quite a few goals. Couldn't quite make it into the subs or the first team, but definitely worth a shout of one of the best players this season so far. And then the last player on the honourable mentions list is Albrighton. This guy is so underrated. He's only 25 as well, guys. He's still got quite a long time in his career to show us how good he really is. He's played for a load of clubs, but at Leicester, he's definitely showing us how good he is. Definitely out on that left side. He's got many assists. He's in the top 10, I believe, in the Premier League, so definitely worth a shout. But now, guys, we're going into the first team. This is, in my opinion, the best 11 of the season so far. So after 6 months, these are the best performers and, for me, the standout players. Up first, in goal, we have Jack Butland. Oh, man, this guy. He was in my top 25 players, of course. Pretty much my favourite goalkeeper in FIFA this year. And in real life for Stoke, he has been absolutely amazing. Only 22 years old, and for me, he should be starting in the Euros for England. I really do believe that. I think he's been better than Joe Hart this season by a long way, and definitely the best goalkeeper of the season so far. At right back, we have Bellerin. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say it's just because I'm an Arsenal fan, but again, when I was talking about Klein, this was your choice over on Twitter. Make sure you follow me to take part in things like this, guys. I really couldn't pick a right back, and everyone on Twitter was saying Klein and Bellerin. So for me, Bellerin has been better than Klein, so he has to be in the team. And still at 20 years old, he's looking like one of the best right backs in the world at that age. Absolutely incredible player. The first centre-back is Alderweireld from Tottenham. He looks really good this season as well. He looked good at Southampton last year, so Tottenham did very well to sign him up. And he is looking even better now. I really like this player. His distribution is fantastic. Really good passing and definitely deserves a spot in the top 11. Up next, guys, we have Smalling from Manchester United. Now, they haven't been so good attacking-wise this season. A little bit boring, you could say. But at the back, they have been extremely solid. And I think it's all down to this guy. He, for me, is one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League this season. And now, moving on to left-back, we have Monreal. Now, this guy, it was really easy to put him in this team. There hasn't been too many great left-backs, except from Kolarov and Fuchs. But Monreal from Arsenal has been one of the most outstanding players over the last few years for us. In terms of improving, he's just got so much better, and he had to be in this team for me. A very consistent player. Now, moving on into midfield, at right wing, we've got Mahrez. The easiest decision so far, guys. He has been, for me, player of the season so far, and none of us saw it coming. This guy is incredible. I absolutely love him. His technical ability, his finishing, his assisting. He's been, for me, just the most outstanding talent this season so far, and there was no way he was not going to make it into this team. Mahrez, I salute you. What a season he's having. And now moving inside to the first centre mid position, we have Kante from Leicester City once again. This guy, unbelievably good. Really underrated. He is their engine. Everything goes through him in midfield. He wins the ball back, passes it on. He's so good at box-to-box midfield. He's up there, he's down there, and he's so quick and agile. And for me, another one of the best performers of the season so far. Moving on to the other centre-mid position, we have Mesut Ozil. Of course, he's going to be in the team of the season so far. He's top on assists. He's actually scored a couple of goals as well, which is great for Ozil. Not known for his scoring ability, but definitely stepping up a little bit more this season. And for me, Arsenal's best player this season so far by a long shot. He really is showing everyone how good he is. And for me, probably the best attacking midfielder in the world right now. I know that sounds crazy, but who's better than Ozil right now behind the striker? Please tell me, enlighten me. On the left, we have my favourite player from last year's FIFA, Wijnaldum. He's signed for Newcastle this season. Couldn't believe it. I was gutted. I thought, if he's going to Newcastle, why weren't we interested? Now, you'll see there his position says cam and centre mid, but for me, on that left side where he's played all season for Newcastle pretty much, he's been the best player there. He has scored more goals than any other Newcastle player in that position, that left mid position. How is he scoring more than their strikers and other players around the midfield area going forward? I don't know, but he has been one of their best players this season, at times carrying them if you ask me, and he had to be in the first 11. Moving into the last two positions now, guys. You can probably guess who they are. We have two strikers, and the first one is Lukaku, the ex-Chelsea man. He's just absolutely incredible this season. I cannot believe how good he's been. But part of me isn't surprised. We all knew that Lukaku has something special, and Chelsea must be so depressed they let him go. But now for the other striker position, it's obvious who it's going to be. The last player in the team, it's Vardy. At 28, I think he might actually be 29 now. He's been probably the best striker in the Premier League this season. And he went on that record-breaking run of scoring in, 13 games in a row? Absolutely incredible. And for Leicester, almost you could say, single-handedly taking them to the top of the table with all of those goals with Mahrez. The question is, guys, is Vardy going to continue this form? Is he going to replicate what he did in the first 6 months, in the next 6 months? Let me know in the comments below what you think. This is the whole team. The first 11, absolutely fantastic team. They would, I think, win a lot of games together. Very, very impressive. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe. And I will see you for another video very soon.